First of all, big decision coming today from the RBA. Well, is it going to be that big? Because nothing's going to move, right?
Good morning, Peter. It would be a remarkable thing if we saw rates move. There's every now and again someone calling for rates to go from 1/4% to maybe 0.1 for some sort of stimulus. Hard to argue it's needed right now in such extreme circumstances. The RBA are still doing what they're doing. They're buying bonds, they're doing other things, dealing with the banks in a very light-handed way, shall we say. But there are things the RBA can and will and is doing. Of course, the more interesting thing are the commentary coming from the RBA boss to really see how the RBA is seeing the economy. That's far, far more interesting to market watchers and, frankly, for the overall economy than the rates decision itself. At least in theory. We may be surprised, but I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, and this is, I suppose, a curtain raiser to the national accounts tomorrow. I guess it's going to be, and you can elaborate on this, but is it going to be official confirmation that Australia is in a recession?
Yeah, almost certainly, but I can't imagine the circumstances in which we're not. Most forecasts are down somewhere between 5 and 7%, depending on who you ask. I mean, even if it's half that, if it's a quarter of that, it's still negative, right? So it would be a Herculean task for somehow us to eke out positive growth in that sort of market environment. We will see a decline. We will see official confirmation of us being in a recession. There's even some talk that we might get a negative growth next quarter as well. So we may not be out of the woods just yet. Hard to spin this one positively. It's going to just be an ugly set of numbers, and for all the reasons that we well know.
Yep, and then let me tell you what, it's a week of numbers, isn't it, Scott? This week we've got the retail figures coming out on a Friday. What sort of a picture is this going to paint? Because I would have thought that maybe people wouldn't be able to buy much at the moment, but then again, people are at home, they're on the internet, they're buying things online.
Right, and your suspicions are probably correct. Look, our last retail sales numbers were up. I think that was for July from memory, maybe June. They were positive, right? So you think, well, hang on, how is that possible? The answer is largely online, as you say. American retail sales were out last week. And they were up by 1.9%. So the trend is very clear. The economy itself, jobs are falling, output production is falling. Retail sales still strong in a reasonably expected way if you think it through, which is that the stimulus money being spent is actually just a phenomenally large amount of money being injected into the economy, and most of it is being spent, whether that's a super early access scheme, whether it's JobKeeper, JobSeeker, or just frankly the confidence that people have that because those programs are in place, they can spend without too much worry. In other words, there is some backstop there if things go really badly for them at work or at home. That's really keeping the confidence there, and frankly, we're not spending to go overseas. We're spending to stay home, whether that's new furniture, travel locally, all those things. The caravan sales are up something like 40%.
Wow.
Really, really strong retail sales numbers expected. Okay. Again, relative to what we thought, but otherwise might have been.